For decades, Simon Cowell was defined by discipline, ambition, and an unapologetic devotion to his career. As one of television's most influential figures, he openly declared that he never wanted children, often saying that fatherhood would interfere with the demanding lifestyle he had carefully built. Long nights, endless auditions, global travel, and relentless pressure were simply part of who he was. To audiences, Simon appeared emotionally guarded, focused almost entirely on results rather than relationships. Family life seemed distant from his priorities, and he embraced that identity without hesitation. Yet life has a way of rewriting even the most firmly held plans. Behind the confident public persona was a man shaped by loss, responsibility, and unspoken loneliness. Few could have predicted that the same man who once rejected the idea of fatherhood would later describe becoming a parent as the most profound transformation of his life, changing not just how he worked, but how he lived, loved, and understood himself. A controversial relationship that changed everything. Simon Cowell's personal life drew intense public attention when his relationship with Lauren Silverman became known. At the time, the situation was complicated, involving overlapping relationships that quickly became tabloid headlines around the world. Rather than focusing on gossip, what mattered most was the turning point it created in Simon's life. The news that he was going to become a father forced him to confront a future he had never envisioned. While the public debated the circumstances, Simon faced a deeply personal reckoning. He could no longer live solely for work or hide behind routines that had once protected him from emotional vulnerability. The reality of responsibility became unavoidable. Over time, the controversy faded, but the consequences reshaped Simon's priorities forever. What began as an unexpected and challenging chapter ultimately became the foundation for a new identity. One grounded less in professional dominance and more in personal growth, accountability, and long-term commitment. The birth of Eric, and a profound emotional shift. The birth of Simon Cowell's son, Eric, marked a defining moment unlike any award, rating, or business success. When Simon held his son for the first time, he later admitted that something inside him shifted permanently. The moment stirred memories of his own father, whom Eric was named after, and awakened emotions Simon had long kept buried. Suddenly, life felt larger than contracts and television schedules. The arrival of his son introduced a level of vulnerability that Simon had never allowed himself to experience publicly. Fatherhood brought clarity, forcing him to slow down and recognize what truly mattered. The sharp, guarded executive was replaced by a man learning patience, tenderness, and presence. Eric's birth did not weaken Simon's ambition, but it softened it, reshaping success into something more meaningful. From that moment forward, his life was no longer defined solely by career milestones, but by moments shared with his child, rediscovering purpose beyond fame. Before becoming a father, Simon Cowell thrived on intensity and control, often pushing himself to extremes in pursuit of excellence. Work was not just a career, but an identity. After Eric's birth, that identity began to expand. Simple routines like bedtime stories, shared laughter, and quiet mornings became grounding experiences that fame had never provided. Simon has spoken openly about how fatherhood gave him balance, helping him step back from the relentless pace that once consumed him. For the first time, rest felt productive and presence felt powerful. Eric became a reminder that fulfillment does not come solely from achievement, but from connection. This shift influenced how Simon approached life as a whole, encouraging healthier habits and emotional openness. The transformation was gradual but profound. What once seemed like distractions became the very moments that sustained him, offering peace, perspective, and a deeper sense of purpose. Grief, loss, and an unseen struggle. Behind Simon Cowell's success was a long period of private grief following the loss of his mother, Julie, who had been his emotional anchor for much of his life. Her death left a void that fame could not fill. In the years that followed, Simon immersed himself in work, using exhaustion as a way to avoid confronting his pain. He later described this period as deeply unfulfilling, marked by isolation despite constant public attention. The absence of his mother stripped away his sense of direction, leaving him emotionally adrift. While viewers saw confidence and authority, few realized the toll that unresolved grief was taking behind the scenes. It was during this vulnerable phase that fatherhood entered his life, not as a solution, but as a source of grounding. Eric's presence did not erase Simon's grief, but it gave him a reason to face it with honesty and resilience. Fatherhood as a path to healing. Becoming a father did not magically cure Simon Cowell's emotional wounds, but it gave him a reason to heal. Caring for Eric required emotional availability, consistency, and presence, qualities that grief had once suppressed. Watching his son grow helped Simon reconnect with joy in its simplest form. Moments that seemed ordinary became deeply meaningful, reminding him that life continues even after loss. Fatherhood encouraged Simon to seek balance rather than escape, replacing overwork with intentional living. He became more mindful of his health, his time, and the emotional example he was setting. Eric did not replace the love Simon had lost, but he transformed how Simon carried that loss. Through his son, Simon learned that grief and happiness can coexist. Healing did not come from forgetting the past, but from embracing the present with compassion, responsibility, and renewed emotional strength. Strength found in partnership and support. Throughout his recovery, Simon Cowell leaned heavily on the support of Lauren Silverman, whose role during this period proved essential. Facing vulnerability together strengthened their partnership, revealing the depth of commitment required beyond public perception. Rehabilitation was slow and demanding, but consistent encouragement helped Simon rebuild both physically and emotionally. The experience reinforced the value of shared responsibility and trust within a family unit. Rather than focusing on external pressures, Simon learned to prioritize stability and mutual care. This chapter of his life emphasized that strength is not measured by control, but by the ability to accept help. Family became more than a label. It became a daily practice of patience, understanding, and resilience. The challenges they faced together reshaped Simon's understanding of partnership, reminding him that lasting success is built not just on ambition, but on emotional connection and unwavering support during life's most difficult moments. Mentorship, responsibility, and emotional growth. As a mentor to countless artists, Simon Cowell has long understood the weight of influence and responsibility. Over the years, guiding young talent has required not only professional judgment, but emotional awareness. Parenthood deepened that awareness, influencing how Simon viewed mentorship itself. He became more conscious of the emotional journeys artists face, recognizing vulnerability behind ambition. Loss, pressure, and expectation are realities both parents and mentors must navigate carefully. Simon's evolving perspective reflected a broader emotional maturity, shaped by personal experiences rather than public acclaim. Supporting others became less about outcomes and more about well-being. These lessons reinforced the idea that leadership involves empathy as much as authority. Simon's growth extended beyond his family, influencing how he engaged with those around him. Life's challenges taught him that impact is measured not only by success created, but by care shown along the way. A legacy redefined by love and perspective. Today, Simon Cowell's legacy extends far beyond television formats and global franchises. While his professional achievements remain undeniable, it is his personal transformation that defines his later years. Fatherhood, loss, recovery, and reflection reshaped a man once known for emotional distance into someone more present and grounded. Life taught him that control is an illusion, and meaning comes from connection. Eric represents continuity, hope, and the future Simon never planned, but now cherishes deeply. Through hardship, Simon learned that strength includes vulnerability, and that purpose grows through love. His journey is not a story of perfection, but of evolution. The man who once feared family life now finds identity within it. In redefining success, Simon Cowell discovered that the most powerful legacy is not built on fame, but on the lives we nurture and the love we choose to protect.